We are really excited to bring you this next episode with Ashley Luke, who is a franchise owner of Pink's Window Cleaning. It was great having the opportunity to visit with her about her journey throughout her life, new challenges that she took on that really prepared her to be able to take on a male-dominated industry and to find great success in doing something different and unconventional. And we look at that through the lens of Frozen 2, and we're also taking a look at maybe an unconventional pick for the character that we will look at as we see this idea of taking on these challenges through the lens of a wonderful movie, Frozen 2. Really looking forward to this episode. Okay, on today's episode, we are talking about something that a lot of people face, which is in pursuing your goals, your dreams, that you sometimes have doubters, or sometimes you're pursuing something that's maybe a little unconventional. And so today we're visiting with Ashley Luke of Pink's Window Cleaning. Very excited about the conversation today and kind of talk about her unconventional journey to this business that she owns and is really thriving in. And I think it's in part because you chose to take this unconventional journey into something that maybe you had some doubters, maybe you had some people who didn't think you'd be able to make it happen the way that you did. So really excited about where that conversation is going to take us. And today as we talk, we're going to talk about that journey through the lens of Frozen 2. And a little bit maybe unexpected character that we focus on in Frozen 2, which is Anna instead of Elsa. So I was kind of preparing for this, and as we talked, it really seemed totally appropriate that it be the unconventional character talking about this. I think a lot of people would have assumed to be Elsa, talking about stepping into the unknown or something like that. But I think Anna's journey here in Frozen 2 perfectly captures the very topic that we'll be looking at. So very excited about where that conversation takes us today. So welcome to the program, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So today as we get started, I'm going to briefly mention, but what I'd love for you to talk a little bit about is how in the world you got into this business. Like, what happened? What was your kind of career arc that took you from whatever it was you were doing before and what your life looked like before, and then why you decided to step into this new challenge that you're doing and thriving in now?
Yeah, so I'll start kind of a little bit with my background of how I got to where I am, how we chose Pink's, all of that good stuff. So I was born in Ohio, the youngest of 5. We moved around a lot as a kid, moved all over the U.S. about every 2 years. Eventually, we settled in Chicago for 4 years, which felt like a long time.
Sure.
It's where I graduated high school. I moved to Utah for college, went to college for a couple of years, tried to do the traditional path, went to dental assisting school, got married. We bought a house. We had our first kid. We thought, oh man, we're living the American dream.
Sure.
Turned out the American dream wasn't for us. We were pretty miserable. So we so unconventionally, we sold everything. We sold our cars and we moved to France with our daughter, who was 1 at the time.
You moved to France?
We did.
No kidding.
We did.
Wow.
Yeah. So we both had great jobs. I was at the Veterans Hospital. He was at American Express. We thought, man, we're on a great path, but it turned out it wasn't for us. So
what spurred that? Why did you decide to do that, and why France?
Great question. So why France, and why did we decide to do that? Definitely, France had always been on the table for me. I had always loved it. I traveled there in high school, and it had just been a dream. I wanted to live there. I thought I'd live there as a single person, but I didn't. So I quit my job. I stayed home with our daughter, and then Trevor was finishing his MBA. So that was an adventure. But it turned out that living in France was probably the place that I felt myself the most. The culture, the pace. We lived in a downtown. I loved that. We didn't have much. And we found out we were a lot happier with less than we were with more.
When you said you lived in downtown, were you in Paris or
different? We were in a different city. It's called Grenoble, a
Okay.
lot like Salt Lake, in the foothills of the Alps. Yeah.
Okay, fun.
It was a lot of fun.
How was the food?
Amazing.
I'm sure it was.
Once you learn what to order, it's amazing. Yeah.
Did either of you speak much French?
I spoke a little French.
Okay.
School was in English for him, so we learned quickly because a small town doesn't have a lot of English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your French now?
And not great.
Did you feel like you got pretty comfortable though while you were living there?
I was pretty conversational and normal day to day.
Yeah.
experiences. Yeah.
Did you go experience what I mean? You hear about because I never lived there and don't know a lot about it, but you hear about people like going to the market every day to get fresh bread
Yeah.
and get fresh produce and that kind of stuff. Was that something that you experienced there?
Yes, yeah. Everything's smaller. So your fridge is tiny, so you don't have storage. So we did. Yeah, every day I would go to the market. You can't buy bread that lasts more than a couple days.
Ah.
It just gets hard. So
Like in my head is just like replaying like Beauty and the Beast and like the opening scene, right, where Belle's walking
Yes.
through the town and like Maureen the baguettes, you know,
Yeah.
like that whole like that's what I'm seeing you doing. Like you're walking around this town, you're like getting bread,
Yeah.
you're shopping, doing stuff. It sounds like magical.
it is a little bit. Life in Europe's a little hard. We didn't have a car.
Oh, no car.
No car.
Oh man, so you're walking everywhere,
We were
taking
walking
public
everywhere.
transportation.
Yeah, with a 1-year-old.
Yeah. Was it a lot of bus?
Bus, and then there was a train.
Oh,
Yeah.
a train. Okay.
Yeah, so we would use whatever was convenient.
Sure.
But yeah, I loved living in France. It's hard. It's a very hard transition to go from comfortable suburban life to
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you learned from that experience?
It was the first time that it opened my eyes to a different way to live. You know, American lifestyle is very different than French lifestyle. They really respect quiet time. They would prefer to sit in a park with a baguette and a bottle of wine on a Sunday than go on a boat or have all these four-wheelers and other things that we look for in American lifestyle. So I learned a lot.
And did that kind of change your perspective once you then moved back where you guys haven't pursued those same things and you have a little more contentment with what you have?
Yes, definitely. We have, since we've been back, experiences are more important to us than things, for sure. Yeah.
So how long did you end up staying in France?
We were there a little over a year.
Okay.
Wasn't it? The first year's the hardest, for sure. So I wish we'd had another, but
Sure.
we were there about a year.
And was that kind of the design going into it, as you thought you'd be there for about that time, or you just weren't sure, and then after a year you were like, we're good, let's go back?
We would have stayed longer if we had found a good job opportunity. But yeah, so when we initially planned it, it was we'll be there for the year and then we'll come home.
Okay. And what year was this?
This was 2010.
Okay.
So
This
it's
is
been,
a little while ago.
A while ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're there for a year, and then where do you go after that?
We moved back. So we were back here
To Utah?
to Utah.
Okay.
Yep. So after France, we moved back here. I went back to school. I hadn't finished my bachelor's degree before we left, so I went back to school. We had another daughter, so we had 2 at that
Fun.
point. Yep. I graduated with my bachelor's. Probably one of the proudest moments of my life is having my girls watch me cross that stage and
For sure.
finish that when they're little.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I also helped my parents started a short-term property management business. So I started that with them. So it was a busy
So was
time.
that something that they'd been doing for a while, where they had that need, and that's where they saw it and then decided to start it, or how did that play out?
They had just started it right as we were moving back from France. So they had been kind of looking around at what to do, and they had just kind of decided on that.
Had they been in the real estate industry or working with?
Nope, that was a total
Properties?
shift for
There's
my
like
parents.
something brand new. We're gonna go
Yep.
do this new thing.
Yeah, my dad was in office products. So he sold office products for 30 years.
Okay, so he was like on The Office.
Yep, exactly. He was Michael Scott.
It's Michael Scott. Maybe more like Jim. All right,
Yeah,
maybe he's
maybe
more like
more-
Jim.
yeah,
Okay,
probably
definitely
more
not
like-
Dwight.
Yes.
Probably not Michael Scott, but he's like Jim. I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
that. In my head, that's what I'm gonna say. It's Jim.
That's more accurate.
Good. It always
Yeah.
makes your mom Pam, which
Yes,
you know
there we
that's
go.
good. That's a great combo.
There we
so your
go.
parents must be amazing.
Yes, they are amazing people. Yeah.
Good.
And they really forged that path of entrepreneurship. Watching them do that and kind of doing it alongside with them,
I'm sure.
yeah, it was huge for me.
And so, how long did you do that?
I'm still doing that.
Okay, so still going.
Yep. So 15 years we've been doing that.
When you started doing it, how did y'all get going on it? Because you're starting a business from scratch in an industry you're not in.
Mm-hmm.
Like how did y'all go about finding success in that and sticking with it?
It's a great question. So my dad had been looking at lots of different opportunities, lots of franchises. He looked at all different kinds of things, restaurants, sports cuts, all those wonderful things. And he landed on this one. This one is a franchise as well. So he landed on this one. He just saw the growth opportunity for this was untapped, really. So we work in Park City almost exclusively. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of how we did that.
So he took a path of franchise, which also might help explain why you decided to go the route of a franchise as well, because you saw
Yeah.
what value there could be in starting with a franchise
For sure.
as opposed to just completely from scratch,
Yes.
which has a lot of challenges. So that's really smart. So you do that with them, and then you're finding some success. What led you to taking on a new adventure?
That's a great question. So my background is kind of diverse. So we were doing property management. We had the opportunity to move to Malaysia. So
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we moved to Malaysia.
Man, y'all aren't afraid of a challenge.
We are not.
Okay.
Now we have 3 daughters at this point. And Malaysia is still very different than here. Women are still second-class citizens. So for the first time in my life, I saw what it felt like to be treated less than.
Yeah.
A couple great examples. Everyday life, going out to a restaurant, we would sit down and I would try to order for myself and they would look to my husband for approval of what I ordered.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most extreme examples was I had longer hair at the time and it was so hot in Malaysia. I wanted to cut it. I was just done. So just like here, I made an appointment, went to get my hair cut. My stylist, he said, "I can't cut your hair." And I said, "Well, what do you mean? It's my hair. I want it cut short." And he said, "I have to have your husband's permission."
No way.
Yeah, to cut your hair
Wow.
shorter. He said, "I've done it in the past and I've had husbands come in and yell at me that I didn't ask for permission." So Malaysia really opened my eyes to what it could be like where we don't have these opportunities. So that pushed me to think, okay, what do I want to do with my life? I have all this opportunity.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
So that led us to, my husband and I both, to thinking, okay, well, what do we want to start? Where do we want to go? I saw Pinks and I loved the opportunity. I loved the thought of stepping into an industry that's male dominated to create safety for women.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
explain maybe a little bit about what Pinks is.
Yeah, great question. So Pinks is window cleaning, exterior cleaning, pressure washing, that kind of stuff, gutter cleaning, solar panel cleaning. Which
makes sense, right? You're in industry doing that, so it makes sense that that's been historically dominated by men.
Yeah.
And you saw that as an opportunity.
For sure, yeah.
Which I think is great. And so then you start doing that, or you're researching and you find this opportunity to do this franchise. And is it you that decides that you're going to do it and run it? Does your husband do it alongside you? Is he kind of like, "Hey, honey, you do whatever you got to do to make it happen"?
Yeah, so we do it as a team.
Okay.
I definitely have taken the lead. He still works a corporate job.
Okay.
Which means I've taken the lead a lot.
Yeah.
But he's still definitely a team member. We do it together.
Yeah.
He's very supportive of everything
Good.
that I want to do. I pushed Pinks for sure in the beginning. I loved the branding. I love the thought of being in a male-dominated, shaking it up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love that. So we're going to get back to more of that here in a minute. But what I want to do is let's take a look at kind of through the lens of Frozen 2.
Yeah.
And understand a little about Anna's journey and kind of some of the parallels that are there, and then some of the lessons from both that wonderful story and then also what you've done and kind of the tie-ins there. So if you can you kind of set the stage of the kind of the overarching story of what Frozen 2 is, in case anybody hasn't seen it or not familiar with it? And if you kind of get that overarching storyline, and then we can kind of dial in some of the specifics about Anna's journey.
Yeah, that'd be great. I hope I don't butcher Frozen 2. Let's see.
That's all right. We're here as a team. We're
That's
a team
right,
in this in this podcast episode. So I'll fill in the gaps if I see them, or we can make sure we get there.
Okay. So it starts back with Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Sven, Olaf, and Arendelle, right? They're back in Arendelle.
Yep.
Things seem to be going very well, but Elsa starts hearing a voice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and she hears something calling to her that there's something going on. We hear a little bit more about their mom and dad, find out their mom is from the Magic Forest. Is that right?
Yeah. She's from the, I guess, whatever that area is up there that she's actually from, which nobody knew.
Yes.
Nobody knew it, and they found it out.
Yeah, and they discovered this through this voice leading Elsa into the forest. Elsa kind of ends up on her own adventure. Anna ends up also on her own adventure.
Yeah.
Starting off with, I think she's with Olaf in the beginning, and then he ends up melting away because Elsa's magic disappears.
Yep.
So Anna, for the first time, is completely alone.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of interesting how Anna and Elsa each are on their own adventure, but they are each helping each other, actually.
Yeah.
They don't realize it. So that's an interesting piece of the story.
Yeah.
And they both work through the magic and what's happening. And I'm trying to remember the ending.
Yeah, and so then once Anna realizes the wrong that needs to be righted, which was actually their grandfather who betrayed the people of North Aldra, and then built this dam to in essence harm what they were doing in the forest, and the health of the river and that whole ecosystem there, that he did it selfishly to try to harm them. And so they needed to right that wrong. So once they realize that, once Elsa realizes it through taking her journey, and she kind of sends this magical message to Anna, she realizes that she needs to destroy the dam. So she calls upon these spirits, which ends up being the rock creatures, right?
That's right. Yes.
Then up helping her kind of destroy the dam, but doing so believing that would then completely flood Arendelle,
Yes.
which is where they lived. But doing that, she knew it was the thing that needed to happen. And so they do it together, in essence, because she does that, and then it awakens Elsa, who is able to come down with the water spirit, ends up stopping Arendelle from being flooded. So again, them taking their separate journeys, which I love you describe it that way. I hadn't even thought about that. They're taking their separate journeys, but really they're still doing it together and coming together, even though they're taking those journeys separately.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's just such a great story for a lot of different reasons. And when we look at Anna's journey, when she first kind of starts out, she's got a lot of great things. Like you said, like life is good at the beginning, where she has her family there. They've overcome the things from Frozen 1, right?
Yeah.
And now they're there. But then Elsa is having this call and this pull to go somewhere else and do something else.
Yeah.
But doubting Anna's ability to help her.
It's true.
Right,
yeah.
because that's what she's doing at first. Is she doesn't tell Anna she's hearing this voice call her.
Yeah.
And then she says she wants to go alone, but Anna's like, no, like we're in this together.
Yeah.
I wrote down one of the things she said. Anna said, "I climbed the North Mountains, survived a frozen heart, and saved you from my ex-boyfriend. I think I can handle myself." Like, it's such a good line. She's like, look, I don't have magical powers like you, but I love you. And I'm here to help, and I can. And so I don't think Elsa was doubting her to be rude or unkind, but she just was. And, Anna knew what her worth was and knew what she could do, which I think is a little bit like, when we look at your particular journey, right? You have this male-dominated industry, window cleaning business, but you find this great brand that you believe in, that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And you believe that you can do it and that you can do something different, even though it might be dominated by other people, which I think is a really nice parallel there.
For sure.
In those situations, both for Anna and for you, where do you think that comes from, of that strength to be able to take on a challenge when maybe other people doubt?
Yeah, that's great. So where does the strength come from? Definitely it comes from action. The more you do, the more confidence you have. People have underestimated me probably my whole life, being the youngest, moving a lot. No one ever knew who I was. Moving across continents, it's pretty hard. And there's a lot of confidence, though, just like Anna said, in doing all these things that you don't think you can do until you do it. So, yeah.
Before we jump back in, can I ask you a quick favor? If you're enjoying the journey so far, will you like, rate, and subscribe to our show? It helps us reach more people like you. We can design and create and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make the dream a reality. Through those experiences, we prove to ourselves that we can.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have to be willing to, because if you don't take those on, you're never going to find out. If Anna hadn't tried to do those things, she never would have realized that she was capable of those things.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's another interesting thing about her journey that you had mentioned is, so she kind of starts going down this different path than Elsa, because Elsa separates her, unfortunately, even though, like, at first, like, okay, we're going to go to this magical forest together, right? Okay, we're going to be in this together. Once Elsa realizes she's got to go to Atahalan, to figure out like what really happened, she unfortunately like pushes Anna away again. In the end, that turned out to be the right thing because Anna needed to take a journey and do something. But there's this, it's really sweet scene that you mentioned where she gets stuck in this cave and she's there with Olaf. And at that point in time, Elsa had basically become frozen because she went too far. I think that's kind of how the song had described it, right? If you go too far, then you're going to lose yourself. And so in essence, she was frozen. So her magical powers start to go away. So of course, like you mentioned, then Olaf starts to.
Yeah.
And Olaf has these really sweet lines in there. And I want to get your take on these and kind of what that maybe meant to her. So she's in there. He starts to flurry away and he says, "I'm sorry, Anna. You're going to have to do this next part on your own, okay?" And so has there ever been times where you kind of had to do that, where it was like, you're going to have to do this next part on your own?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that there aren't people to support you, but for the most part, like it's something you're going to have to do. It's only you that can do it, and you're going to have to dig deep to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Starting new schools every couple of years. That was hard. My mom and I were very close. My dad and my whole family and I were close. But every time you step into a new school, that's all you. There's nobody else with you. Doing that was hard. Moving to different countries. It's all you. As much as you're doing it as a couple, my husband has his thing, I have my thing.
Yeah.
And that loneliness you feel, that's all you.
Yeah.
That's 100%. You just have to step into that and figure out how to handle that. The cultural differences, nobody can react the way you're going to react. So you have to learn how to handle that on your own.
Yeah.
And then starting Pinks.
Yeah.
They always say as you're building a business, you're building yourself. And as much as we've done it together, we've done it individually as well.
Sure.
So there's been some loneliness. There's definitely darkness. In starting your own business, it breaks you in ways you didn't expect. So yes, so being on your own with starting a business, walking into meetings where usually I'm the only woman.
Yeah.
Saying,
it's a major challenge. And you're on your own. You're like, this is me. And I've got to step into my power to do this.
Yes. And you don't go in always with confidence.
Sure.
But the more you do it, the more confidence you definitely build. But you do have to step into that and just kind of own it. And as you grow, the confidence grows for sure.
For sure. And, I think what it ties nicely to here is actually the next line from Olaf as he's ultimately in Anna's arms and he's fading away. And this kind of comes on, there was kind of foreshadowing at the very beginning of the show, right?
Yeah.
At the very beginning, they had the song as Some Things Never Change, which of course the whole idea is that like everything changes.
Yeah.
And Olaf actually says that at one point in time, like we said nothing changes, but like since then everything has changed. and when he had that kind of realization, then he comes to this line, which is just such a great line, maybe the best line in the show. He says, "Hey Anna, I just thought of something that's permanent, love." And so, when you think about for you having to do some of these things on your own, how do you feel like that applied for you in your situation with you and your husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you go and you move to France and you did have to do things separately, but you also still had that for each other. Same thing with Malaysia, same thing with Pinks. How do you think, what's your kind of take on that, both for this story here, but also more specifically, of course, for your own?
Yeah, I think it's interesting as you grow, love changes. When you're first married or first together, it's very surface level, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then as you face challenges together, you really learn how to love each other on a deeper level. And that doesn't change. So as much as you're changing, you're growing, your relationship's changing and growing, there's still that foundation that hasn't changed, like they say in Frozen too. So I think, through everything, all the challenges, it makes us stronger. I think if you don't face challenges as a couple, it does kind of stay on that surface level. And it's, everything stays the same but changes is kind of the theme, I guess.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's exactly right. And it's when you know that you have that love from somebody else, that even if you're taking that step like Anna was, where she was alone doing it, mm-hmm. she could still draw on that love to know that she was loved, to know that people did care about her.
For sure. I would say my husband has more faith in me than I've ever had in myself. And so I do rely on that that love that's behind everything I do, that I know that I've got a strong rock foundation behind me that will support me. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I mean, it ties in perfectly with then the song that Anna sings next, right? And kind of the end of the song says, I'll make the choice to hear that voice, the one of love and support, and do the next right thing. And when we have the love that goes really deep, because we've taken the time to build that deeper love, that really does help us make the right choices, make the next right choice, and the next hard choice. Because again, running this business that you have, like, I mean, it's just, I can just imagine it being such a challenge, because you're walking into rooms where you're the only woman, and you're doing something that other people haven't done.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that's new, that's unique, that's original, and having the strength to take the next right step. Even if you have doubters, or even if you doubt yourself, you still take the next step. Have you ever had that time where you doubted yourself?
Oh, yeah. I doubt myself all the time.
Yeah. And what do you do when you have that? Because, I think that's something that's, I think everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
We have moments where we do. And so when you have, what have you done to dig deep and be able to still take the next right step?
I think I often think of the phrase, do it anyways. Whether I doubt myself or I don't doubt myself, you typically know the next right step, if you will, and you just do it anyways. Yeah. And something I'm learning as I grow into this business is you just learn that you can handle it. Having the confidence that even if it goes wrong, I can handle it. That's really been huge for me as we've grown the business. Yeah. We've had lots of big projects. Things have gone wrong. We've had to do a lot of gymnastics to get what the customer's looking for and expectations. So, yeah, you just have to trust yourself that even if it goes wrong, you'll handle it.
Yeah. And so, circling back to what I mentioned before, which is, specifically about how you've used this industry that's male dominated, but you being a female owner, a female-led organization, how have you actually turned that into a real strength for your particular business and for your clients? How have you done that?
For sure. So one thing is you're memorable. That's great. If you go into a room where they're expecting a male, they're going to remember that it's a female. But the other great thing about it is creating safe space for women. When I show up for a quote, it almost drops a barrier for most women. Yeah. That it's me, that I'm going to make sure everything in the job is the way that they would expect it to be. Details matter to me. There's just a different eye that I have. So I've taught my teams different things that normally in a male-dominated industry they wouldn't notice. I think, just creating a safe space for women, knowing that a woman is behind it, has really been huge for us as we've grown.
Yeah, because there's tons of female business owners and female building, landlords and people who are going to want to be using your services. Yeah. And so it's probably a huge breath of fresh air for them to realize, like, I'm a strong, powerful woman. Yeah. And look, I've got somebody else here is too. And I can trust them. I can trust them to take care of this space that they're going to be, taking care of for me. Like, I can have that trust with them because I trust her. Exactly.
Yeah. And I care so much. So I think that really goes through, when I'm speaking to other women as well.
Yeah. So there's a couple of quotes that I came across in preparing that I kind of want to run by you and get your thoughts. Yeah. Okay. So we haven't talked about these. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of spring them on you, but they're good ones. One's from Brene Brown. And she said, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you cannot choose both.
100%.
So how has that been the case for you?
So every time you grow, it takes a little bit of courage.
It does.
And it is not comfortable. Yeah. And then you look back and you think, I'm really bad about giving myself credit. So I look back and I think, well, that wasn't hard. Why? I didn't need courage, but you really do need, when you step into these new things, it does take a lot of courage, and it's not comfortable. Yeah. Moving's not comfortable. Starting a business is definitely not comfortable. Having kids is not comfortable. Yeah. All these things, all these milestones that we do as humans really do take a lot of courage, and you can't be comfortable and courageous at the same time.
Yeah, and what, we're here to grow.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's how life gets better. That's how we, in the pursuit of growth, finding joy in the journey is kind of what life's all about. But we're not going to grow. we're not going to have those opportunities if we're not courageous about, stepping out of our comfort zone, stepping out of something that's really comfortable. It's really easy to get in a rut where you're just doing the thing that's just super comfortable because it's easy.
Exactly.
And that's what's so interesting about your stories. I didn't know all these other things about you, moving around a lot, and then also taking these opportunities to move to different countries. But it's just completely connects. I'm like, well, she's built over a lifetime showing that she's courageous to take those steps and that she'll step out of her comfort, which makes also sense why like you've been so successful with this business, because you've constantly challenged yourself.
Yeah.
You've grown through those experiences. And so this is like the next one where you're like, yeah, of course I'm going to take on that challenge.
Exactly.
Right? Of course I'm going to do that. Of course I can be successful in it, even though you'll have your doubts.
Yes.
Even though you're going to have, as we sometimes do, that imposter syndrome. Like,
oh, yeah.
All right, that can't be me that's successful in this.
Yeah.
Right? Can I really be the one that like is successful in this?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have that for sure. Even moving around, can I really be successful in living in Southeast Asia?
Yeah.
That was a big one. So, but you look back and those are the moments that you actually feel the most happy, are the moments that you're being courageous, that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. It feels scary when you're in it, and then you look back and you think, oh, man, I was really happy.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times we have these ideas, and, I think it comes culturally from growing up the way that we do and seeing people be celebrated for an accomplishment, that we think that happiness is through the accomplishment. You see sports and you see somebody win a championship, and that's where everybody's super happy. Or, so you see somebody getting an award for something, and that's where it all is. When in reality, life is really more about the journey.
For sure.
You're looking back and you're like, man, those were times where, they were hard.
Yeah.
But I was happy doing those things, taking on those challenges.
For sure.
Challenging myself. One more quote I have for you, and get your take on it. Adam Grant, who I'm a big fan of, he said in his book Originals, he said, originals are nonconformists, people who not only have new ideas, but also take action to champion them.
Oh, that's good.
So I would look at you and say you're an original. So tell me what that quote means to you. How do you see that fitting into your story?
Yeah, great question. So I think naturally I am not an original. I would like to conform to society. I'd like to fit in, but my whole life I feel like I've been pushed out of the normal, I guess you could call it. So I've really had to step into being more original, being more who am I as I grow, because I'm definitely more on my own than I think a lot of other people. What was the second half of the quote? Sorry.
It says, originals are nonconformists, people who not only have new ideas, but also take action to champion them.
Okay.
Which is where I think, like with Pinks, it's
Yes.
exactly what you've done.
Yes. So finding Pinks was huge for me. It just spoke to me, the values, the 1950s throwback. I loved all of it. And I saw it and I thought, well, I can do that. I can do window cleaning. I can do this. And really, the more steps I took towards it, I realized I can champion this idea. Yeah. I can take it, I can run with it, and really succeed. Yeah. It wasn't easy.
No, not at all, because I think a lot of people would have doubted that was something that you could do something different, right? I love the idea that you're connecting and providing a safe place for your female customers, because, now that you say it, it's like, oh, well, of course. Yeah, of course that would be. But, like, you didn't know that.
Exactly.
That wasn't, like, in the franchise manual, like, here's what you need to do because you are a female owner now of Pinks. This is the angle you need to take. No, you had to figure that out.
Yes.
And now that you have, you're not just doing it, I would say, just from afar, that you're championing that, which I love. Like, that's just something I get really passionate about, when you have something great that you're doing and you champion a cause or a purpose you believe in. It's really inspiring. Right. I think one thing I'm hoping that people will take away from this is just like the willingness to step into something that maybe they're a little bit nervous to do, or that might seem a little bit different, and knowing that, like, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it, and not just do it, but you can really thrive with it, and then you can champion that cause.
For sure.
And help other people as well, because what you're doing to help these other female clients that you have, and we certainly have male ones too, but specifically the female ones, like the confidence and the safety and security they feel because they're using your organization, like makes a difference in their lives,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And I agree that you just stepping into things that feel hard, that's where you're really going to thrive.
Yeah.
And stepping outside of that norm and that comfort zone, we need disruptors.
Yeah,
And so I agree.
for sure. Okay, so what I want to do next is take us to a little bit of a couple of fun segments here.
Yeah.
We're going to first do a this or that. So I'll
Okay.
just give you two things, and you tell me which one it is.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll take you to a rapid fire where you'll just, the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay.
Okay.
So first a this or that, okay?
All right.
So, Arendelle
Ooh,
or Enchanted Forest?
Arendelle.
Okay. Okay, good. How come?
Just peaceful. So I have so much chaos in my mind
Yeah.
that having somewhere peaceful is more appealing.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
Yeah.
Olaf or Sven?
Oh, that's a tough one. Olaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, look, Olaf's got some great songs.
He does.
He's got a great personality.
Yeah.
Like, and I love Sven, don't get me wrong, but
Same.
Olaf's just got a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a little more there. Okay, Frozen 1 or Frozen 2?
Ooh, I think I did enjoy Frozen 2 more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be a hot take. I did as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I think they really built nicely on what it was and into being just great. So this one is related to that, but
Uh-huh.
Let It Go or Into the Unknown?
Ooh, that one's tough. Probably more Let It Go on that one.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that's iconic,
Yeah.
right? Like everybody knows Let It Go.
Yeah.
Okay, last this or that. Anna or Elsa?
Oh, Anna. Always.
Okay. Oh, wait, there you go. You're like, heck yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about today, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, here's our rapid fire, okay?
Yep.
Favorite Disney movie?
Beauty and the Beast.
Such a good one.
That's a good one.
Such a good one. I mean, there's a reason why it was nominated for Best Picture and not in the animated feature category. Like the overall, all of the
It's a
movies,
good one.
it was nominated because it was amazing.
Yeah.
Favorite Disney song?
Oh. Ooh. What's the Little Mermaid one with her thingamajigs?
Part of Your World.
That one.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a great song.
Yeah, that's a
oh,
good
yeah.
one.
The Little Mermaid it's just such a fun song, such a fun movie, and like all of the songs in that movie are
Yeah.
really, really good.
They are good.
That was the start of the Disney Renaissance, where
Yes.
they had really been struggling for a little while in the 80s with like a bunch of like non-hits. And then, man, Little Mermaid, late 80s, really catapulted it back in the Disney Renaissance. Oh, it's a great, great song.
Yes.
Favorite Disney princess?
Belle.
Belle. Back to Beauty and the Beast.
Back to Beauty and the Beast.
Which
yeah.
also, I didn't realize, but of course, the France tie in there, right?
Yeah,
like, totally
exactly.
makes sense, doesn't
Yeah.
you say it? Favorite Disney hero or heroine?
Oh, interesting. I got to think about that one for a minute. Probably the fairy godmother in Cinderella.
Okay, seeing her as a hero. I
Yeah.
like this. I hadn't looked at it from that lens, but you can absolutely call her a hero.
Yeah,
Fairy Godmother's great.
taking Cinderella from where she was to
Yeah.
be something that she thought she couldn't be
Yeah.
that's definitely a hero.
Yeah, for sure. She took her on, she helped guide her through the journey she needed to go on
Yeah.
to grow. Yeah, I love that. Favorite Disney villain?
Oh, let's see. The godmother in Tangled.
Oh, Mother Gothel.
Yes.
Mother Gothel. Oh, she's such a good villain. Oh,
Yes.
she's such a good villain. Like where she makes it seem like she's sweet, but
Oh,
really
yeah.
it's not at all. Oh yeah, like her song. Woo.
That's another good song.
Oh, it is.
That's a good one.
Such a good one. Okay, we're gonna step outside of Disney and say favorite book. Just any book.
Oh, favorite book. Oh man, there's so many. Let me think. Has to be. It's about the women in war. I think that's what it's called.
Women in War.
By Kristen Hanna. Yeah,
Okay.
about the Vietnam War.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's one I'm gonna have to add to the list.
It's a good one.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that one. Based
Yeah.
on a true story, or it is?
It's not a true story.
Okay.
But based on historical facts.
Okay, so they've got like fictional characters based on the stuff that actually happened.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, that's
in
kinda
Vietnam.
fun.
Yeah, and then how she comes
The-
back from Vietnam. And
Okay, so
Yeah,
like some
it's really
historical fiction. I always like a good historical fiction.
It's a good one.
Okay. And the last rapid fire is your ultimate dinner guest.
Ooh, my ultimate dinner guest.
Anybody dead or alive?
I would actually love to have dinner with, can I have two?
Sure.
The Obamas.
Okay. Okay. It'd be a really interesting conversations
Yeah.
for sure. There's a lot, I'm sure a lot of experiences they have that you could get them to share.
Yeah,
and
they've
learn
made a
from.
lot of change, a good change in the world, and then they maintained just being good people
Sure.
through all the
Good.
chaos.
Good.
It'd be really interesting to hear.
Yeah. No doubt.
Their stories.
So as we kind of bring it around back to Frozen 2, to your story, kind of closing thoughts for you on, what it means to have the courage to take an unconventional path when you have doubters. What are kind of your closing thoughts on that? And then after that, we'll wrap it into our 3 actionable takeaways.
Great. So closing thoughts on being unconventional.
Yeah. And having the courage to do that, to take this unconventional path that people doubted you on.
Great. I think you're always going to have haters in life.
Yeah.
There's always going to be naysayers. Doesn't matter what you do. Someone's going to say that's not the right thing. Yeah. And so if that's the case, you might as well choose a life you want to live. So that's how I've always found the courage to just keep going, is people are going to say this is a horrible idea. And maybe it is, but you're never going to know until you do it. Yeah.
And I love that the idea of just doing it anyways, right? Like you're gonna have doubters, no matter what steps you take. You're gonna have somebody that is, so you may as well do what you'd like to do.
Exactly.
Make the life that you want, notwithstanding the doubters. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so what are 3 actionable takeaways that somebody listening could put into effect today or this week to start making the changes or finding the courage to do something unconventional, set aside the doubters, and really step into something great?
That's a great question. So what can you do today? First, I would start with taking 10 minutes and writing what success looks like to you. Because success can be a million things. And really looking at what success can be to you and not listening to those naysayers or other people, and just envisioning that and picturing that, manifesting that, if you will. That's the first step that you can take and probably should take in finding all of this happiness. And then the next one is to do one small thing that scares you this week, whether that's speaking up for yourself when you shouldn't have, when you wouldn't normally, sending the email, sending the text, even just doing an experience that scares you, trying new food, trying a new restaurant, things like that.
Yeah, you start to build up the ability to do that if you'll do those little things, so that when the bigger things come, you've built up a belief in yourself that you can do that scary thing. That's great.
Exactly. So then that leads into the third one, which is reflect. Reflect on the times that you did feel the most yourself. And that helps lead into what was I doing in that situation that made me feel courageous or good about myself. And that's really going to help you find your path of where you want to be and what makes you feel the most alive.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Those are great things. I mean, that's something that anybody could do. You just, tomorrow, just take the time to create that list, take those 10 minutes, write that list down, look at your week. I mean, certainly in even a day, but certainly in a week, someone can find something that scares them, right?
Yeah.
That they just wouldn't have done otherwise, and then reflecting on those things and the time where they felt themselves most. Wonderful takeaways there. Well, hey, listen, a great conversation. Really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us, take a look at Frozen 2, see what awesome lessons there are from Anna in that, and really, but more importantly, the vulnerability you showed to explain kind of what your journey was and times where you took on these new challenges. And I think it's really going to be inspiring for those listening to say, like, hey, I can do it too, right? I can take on these challenges. I can do something unconventional, challenge those things. I can be an original and find success in doing those things. So, hey, really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. As you leave this conversation, remember that yes, the past can hurt, and you can either run from it or you can learn from it. So here's to learning and finding joy in the journey. See you real soon.